All right, so my next guest, Rachel Powell. Mother of 8. Broke a window at the Capitol building back on the 6th of January, right? Received a full pardon along with the others from Donald Trump. Released from federal prison now. And I want to talk to her about everything she went through. Rachel, welcome to the program.
Hi. Good morning.
How you feeling? You got a smile on your face. Obviously, it's better to wake up wherever you woke up today as opposed, and I'm going to assume that's at home, as opposed to waking up in the D.C. gulag, right? Or anywhere else for that matter behind bars.
Most of my time was spent in West Virginia at the SFF Hazleton, and I could sleep in a tent in the cold, and it would be better than waking up there.
So, not a great experience. Of course,
No,
prison's
not
not
at all.
supposed to be a great experience, but all right, so you broke a window. Tell me about what your crime or crimes were that you were convicted of and what you really think about what happened. Let's start with what you were convicted of.
Well, they gave me 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors. The window breaking itself was actually a misdemeanor because the window was valued at $600. One of my felonies was thrown out by the Supreme Court because they said you can't use this obstruction charge on protesters. It's never happened before in the past. And so while my behavior was inexcusable that day, I was also very overcharged, and I should have been made to pay for the window and been treated like a misdemeanor. Um,
So let me
that's
just
all
jump
gone
in there. So
now.
you accept responsibility for what you did. Clearly, you just said that.
Absolutely. Yes,
You got out of control, you said,
absolutely. But it was
but way
was
overcharged.
it
I mean, I just want to make sure I'm getting the scope. Yes, you agree you did something wrong. Yes, there should have been a penalty for that, but spending all this time in prison, not the right or appropriate punishment, if you will, is what you're saying.
absolutely. And in fact, America should be a little concerned because if they could do that to us, then they could do that to anybody. And we should be concerned about the government being weaponized. We need to fix all of this now so it never happens again.
So tell me about the conditions. You just said you'd rather wake up in a freezing tent in a snowstorm or something like that. What were the conditions like in that prison?
Well, it was okay if I would have been in a third world country. If I'd have been in a prison in Mexico, I would have expected it, but not here in America. And even that being said,
And
in
how
other
do you mean that?
countries,
What are the conditions? What do you point to? What do you mean specifically?
okay, yeah, so the roofs that leak, the dirty facilities, the being locked in a cell hour after hour, day after day, even Mother's Day, being locked in a cell, having your food slid through a little slot, being told to be thankful, the lack of programming, the lack of anything to reconstruct and properly reprogram a person's life. Um, Even if I was in a jail in Mexico, I wouldn't have been housed with biological men that were there preying on women. The whole thing was sick. Some of the officers were okay, some of them were very abusive. The food was terrible. There was no medical treatment. If you have a tooth problem and you are stuck in prison, they're going to let your tooth get so bad that they have to pull it rather than fill it. So I've actually had to repent because I was a person that was like, give somebody in prison a Bible and a bed. What more do they need? They have medical treatment, they have TVs, they have air conditioning. That's not the case. And what's going on in there is totally abusive. And we really just need to realign the prison system again.
Let me ask you about this. One other thing you talk about the prison system: transgender housing policies. What state were you held? What prison again?
I was in Brewston Mills, West Virginia, which is the worst female prison in the United States. That's where they put me. I had no criminal history before January 6th, and yet that's where they chose to house me.
Put you with the worst, the worst. So what were the transgender policies? It's on the list here of things that you're concerned about.
Well, their policy is that if a man comes in and he has a ponytail, that makes him a female. And so you have to be inclusive. That includes in religious services, you have to take communion with these people or worship with them. You can't have a service without them if they choose to come. That means that if you are, everybody has to share a cell with somebody, and if you are an unlucky woman forced to share a cell with one of them, you're sharing a very, very small area where you have to go to the bathroom in front of this person, where you have to change your clothes in front of this person, where you can go days without ever leaving your cell, and you're stuck in here with this person. And without, I mean, I could be graphic if you want me to, but
No, no. I mean,
we
I
can
think
all
we get the
imagine the
picture. You know, we
problems that come along with that,
sure.
and
Hopefully,
if you speak out, you go to the shoe and you are punished, and the men are left
which
in
is
the
solitary
unit.
confinement issue. Now, we're hopeful that some of these things are going to change as we've seen Donald Trump get rid of men and women's sports and so forth. Let me ask you about this. We only got a couple minutes left. Um, Impact on your family relationships. How are things now that you're home? You've got 8 children. You were gone for obviously an extended period of time. Well, what's the impact been on you and your family and your relationships?
Well, waiting to be seen. I feel like some relationships are stronger and healed. I feel like, because, when your family's ripped from you, you realize how important that relationship actually
Sure.
was. And all the little things that might have bothered you about somebody in your family all of a sudden don't matter anymore because you just want to be with them. And my family is, I've got a bunch of kids and they've been supportive through this whole thing. That being said, I've had some children that they've had a rough few years and now they're rebuilding their life with me. And I don't know how that looks for us completely yet. And I don't know what the outcome will be. I don't know. um, we should probably get counseling, and it's going to be a long road, and there's a lot of things going on, not just with my family but with other families that are January 6 people, and it's not really being spoken about. That it's hard, it's really hard coming back into society and rebuilding your life. um, it's not like you get a pardon and now life is easy. No, you get a pardon, now you have to figure out how to catch up on your bills, where you're going to work, what's going on with your family mentally, how they're holding up, and yourself. And does everything fit together like it used to? It's a lot, but I'm happy to do it, and I'm sure everybody else is too. We are so thankful to be out.
Yeah, thankful to start over. You know, I'd love to have you come back, Rachel, and talk more about your experiences because I think it's important.
I would
You
love
know,
to too.
and I think it's important. You said, look, I made a mistake, but I didn't deserve that. I think that's fair, too. I think people in America think if you own up to it, you have some remorse, then, okay, you pay a penalty, but you don't get just abused. And I think that's what happened to J6ers. They got abused, not just you, of course, 1,500 across the plane. Anyhow, Rachel, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your story. Rachel Powell, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it. There you have it. We'll have her back. Maybe I'll do a Spaces event with her. Trying to line people to do Spaces events on X. I find it fascinating. All right, we'll take a break and be back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. Thank you.